Top of the morning to you out there. It's good to know that you're listening to I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan. It is Wednesday, the 14th of May, 2025. It is another day, another opportunity that we've been given to make things right, to do what it is we're supposed to do. So make sure that today counts. Make sure that you take advantage of this day, the 14th day in the month of May 2025. Welcome to Press Drive right here on I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan. Welcome to a newspaper review program where we take you through headlines making rounds in the national dailies this morning. And it feels so good to know that you're out there listening to this program this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. My analyst is right here, Honorable Femi at DBC. When it's time, you get to hear his voice. You can be a part of the conversation on Press Drive. You can call the studio lines, which are open when it's time. On Facebook, you can watch us live at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Like, share, comment. And if you want to react to the stories this morning, do feel free to drop a comment on our Facebook page. This morning I have The Punch, The Nation newspaper, I have The Guardian newspaper, and we'll go through the front page of that of the Daily Times newspapers. So we'll do that very quickly so that we can manage our time. I'll start with the front page of The Nation newspaper this morning. I remain focused on reforms despite criticisms, says Tinubu. I remain focused on reforms despite criticisms, says President Tinubu. Lamido asks federal government to pay 45 billion naira owed Abiola. Lamido asks federal government to pay 45 billion naira owed Abiola. Why we are not applying for loan by Southeast student. Why we're not applying for loan by South and Southeast students. Agriculture grappling with challenges despite effort. Agriculture grappling with challenges despite effort. Dignitaries bid Clark farewell. Dignitaries bid Clark farewell. APC takes majority in Senate to 68. APC takes majority in Senate to 68. Court fixes June 27th for judgment in Natasha's suit against Akpabio. Others. Court fixes June 27th for judgment in Natasha's suit against Akpabio. You can find that on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Other headlines on the Nation newspaper. I remain focused on reforms despite criticisms, says Tinubu. I remain focused on reforms despite criticisms. A bold mission to reclaim Nigeria's agricultural glory. A bold mission to reclaim Nigeria's agricultural glory. Alleged 5.5 billion naira suit, DSS faults Serap's claim. Alleged 5.5 billion naira suit, DSS faults Serap's claim. Bill to convert Yaba Tech to varsity scales second reading. Bill to convert Yaba Tech to varsity scales second reading. NCC moves to checkmate 918 trillion naira copyright piracy market. NCC moves to checkmate 918 trillion naira copyright piracy market. Still on the Nation newspaper this morning, firm renews commitment, empowers women financially. Firm renews commitment, empowers women financially. Still on the Nation newspaper, UBE Counterpart Fund. UBEC to unveil new template for disbursement. UBE Counterpart Fund. UBEC to unveil new template for disbursement. How porous borders expose Nigeria to insecurity by Speaker Abbas. How porous borders expose Nigeria to insecurity by Speaker Abbas. 10 million out of school pupils for classrooms within 2 years. 10 million out of school pupils for classrooms within 2 years. Court fixes June 27th for judgment in Natasha's suit against Akpabio. Others. Away from that, Oshomole lauds Tinubu's achievements, says worst over. Oshiomhole lauds Tinubu's achievement, says worst over. Kebbi PDP were unshaken by Alieros and others exit. Kebbi PDP were unshaken by Alieros and others exit. And finally, on the Nation newspaper this morning, Senate seeks deployment of adequate troops to curb Boko Haram resurgence. Senate seeks deployment of adequate troops to curb Boko Haram resurgence. Now let's go on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. JAMB VCs to review UTME results Thursday. JAMB VCs to review UTME results Thursday. Rectors, provost, principals, examiners to meet JAMB chiefs, candidates decry result discrepancies. Rectors, provost, principals, examiners to meet JAMB chiefs, candidates decry result discrepancies. You can find that on page 2 of the Punch paper. President Tinubu Akpabio, governors pay clerk final respect. Tinubu Akpabio, governors pay clerk final respect. You can find that on page 25 of the Punch paper. Political firefight. Saraki panel mobilizes PDP bigwigs against defections. Political firefight. Saraki panel mobilizes PDP bigwigs against defections. You can find that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Fuel import ban fears reignites Dangote marketers row. Fuel import ban fears reignite Dangote marketers row. You can also find that on page 35 of the Punch paper. 9 banks earn 2.3 trillion naira interest on 61.6 trillion naira loans. 9 banks earned 2.3 trillion naira interest on 61.6 trillion naira loans. Page 37 of the Punch paper. Federal government voided June 12 to avoid paying Abiola 45 billion naira, says Lamido. Federal government voided June 12 to avoid paying Abiola 45 billion naira. You can find that on page 34 of the Punch newspaper. Cash transfer missed millions of needy Nigerians. Cash transfer missed millions of needy Nigerians, says World Bank. You can find that on page 35 of the Punch paper. Obasa APC protesters clash over local government primary outcome. Obasa APC protesters clash over local government primary outcome. Page 34 of Punch paper. U.S. shares Wigwe's helicopter crash report with federal government. U.S. shares Wigwe's helicopter crash report with federal government. You can find that on page 36 of the Punch news. Items to bandit. Police deny airlifting food items to bandit. Soldiers flee after Boko Haram raid on Borno base. Soldiers flee after Boko Haram raid on Borno base. Away from that, reps shoot down bill seeking rotational presidency. Reps shoot down bill seeking rotational presidency. NOA warns core members against shortcut to wealth. NOA warns core members against shortcut to wealth. Wike Umahi to showcase Tinubu's achievements in London. Wike Umahi to showcase Tinubu's achievements in London. And go through the last set of headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning. Flooding. Nema begs Uzodinma for emergency response equipment. Flooding. Nema begs Uzodinma for emergency response equipment. PDP tackles Uzodinma over 2.1 billion naira spent on Hajj and party. PDP tackles Uzodinma over 2.1 billion naira spent on Hajj and party. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning. Russia denies exploitation of Nigerian women in factories. Russia denies exploitation of Nigerian women in factories. Let's quickly check out the front pages of the Daily Times and the Guardian newspapers. Senate moots altering FAAC composition to include local government reps. Senate moots altering FAAC composition to include local government. Now to the front page of the Guardian paper. Stakeholders reject plan. FLIER stalled proposals. High military casualties. Stakeholders reject plan. FLIER stalled proposals. High military casualties. You can find that on page 6 of the Guardian paper. Nigeria must work, says Obasanjo, as Lamido seeks closure to June 12 saga. Nigeria must work, says Obasanjo, as Lamido seeks closure to June 12 saga. You can find that on page 6 of the Guardian paper. UNICEF links 50% of childhood deaths in Nigeria to malnutrition. UNICEF links 50% of childhood deaths in Nigeria to malnutrition. Page 30 of the Guardian paper. Ganduje, wife, others to face prosecution as court rejects application over alleged fraud. Ganduje, wife, others face prosecution as court rejects application over alleged fraud. Page 30 of the Guardian paper. And finally, on the front page of the Guardian paper this morning, Nigeria loses $18 billion to illicit financial flows as debt servicing gobs 70% of revenue. Nigeria loses $18 billion to illicit financial flows as debt servicing gobs 70% of revenue. You can find that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And with the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we wrap up with the headlines of the newspapers with me this morning. Let's go through details of the stories we want to look at this morning. Joining me for analysis is Honorable Femi at DBC. Good morning. Welcome to Press Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM.
Good morning, Esther the Queen. Yes, the King is here as well. How was the night?
Fine, thank you.
Good morning, listeners. It's heartwarming to know that you are there for us.
Thank you. All right, you can be a part of the conversation. Please do remember that. You can call the studio lines which are open when it's time. You can watch us live on our Facebook page at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Like, share, follow us, and do react to the stories this morning. Thank you very much. All right, let's quickly go through the details so that we can buy time this morning. All right, and I'll be starting with let's start with insecurity, and then we can move to other situations. Senator Mohammed Monguno, co-sponsored by Senators Mohammed Ali Ndume, Shehu Lawan, Musa Mustafa, Ahmad Lawan, and Ibrahim Bomai. Monguno recalled that a few years ago, 2/3 of the local government areas in Borno were under the control of Boko Haram, but with the concerted effort of the military and civilian joint task force, they were relocated its tactical command of operations to the northwest to tackle kidnapping and banditry. Now, he said that move created room for the resurgence of terror activities in the northeast. So now they have called for the return of full military operations to Borno and Yobe State. The senators backed the motion and approved the prayer. So let's start with insecurity, and then move to other sectors.
Oh, well, you see, the recent attacks by Boko Haram and ISWAP and all others, especially in Borno State, have significant implications for Nigeria's security and economy. The attacks not only threaten the immediate security of the region, but also have far-reaching consequences for Nigeria's economic stability, political stability, and growth. So addressing these challenges require a comprehensive approach. Well, of course, we'll be talking about the military approach because the Senate especially, they keep hammering on the military or kinetic approach. Haram and ISWAP that you simply cannot identify. Sometimes they say they are outsiders. Sometimes they say they are Nigerians. Sometimes they say that, and you find out that even the people in your government, they are, also, a part of that particular issues. Even the military, even the traditional rulers, it's the military solution that will endure in this kind of situation. Then, of course, I think we are far from being truthful to ourselves. Displacement. How about, our young soldiers, talented ones that are being killed every day? How about their dependents? So,
okay.
So what do we say? Where are we going? So I think the time is now that the federal government should think of other alternative. That is, let us just meet and talk it out. Yes, just like Bola Ige said, he said we should ask ourselves two questions. Do we still want to be a nation? And second, if we want to be a nation, yes, let us redefine. Let us renegotiate. So outside of that, I don't think we get any other solution that will be enduring.
You mentioned something earlier that the people have been saying, oh, they're outsiders, oh, they are Nigerians and all, but then this exposed Nigeria to insecurity.
I'm not thinking that way. But of course, going by antecedents, I want to say, yes, it's not irrational. Why? Because we remember vividly the particular incident, we are in the government lodge in Abuja. And on the road, the people are military guys. Some of them, they will lay them, kill the police, and set the captive free. Can you say that? So they arrested the soldiers. Was it confirmed
that they were the military?
Oh yeah, the military.
Part of the military.
Yeah,
because we hear of Boko Haram insurgents using.
No, that is. In fact, that matter went to court, and you don't hear anything about it again. So that which is not a suggestion, which shows that very clearly shows that some of the military guys, did that operation that is setting Kabir Sokoto free. So going by that as it did antecedent, yes, of course, you cannot rule out things like that. That's one. And second, yes, Abbas, Right Honorable Abbas now, yes, it's so worrisome that when they get just restricted to one nativity when it comes to nationality. So, anywhere they find themselves, that is whom they are. that is where they belong. I mean, that is a governor. So, which suggests that even the people in government, they lack the capacity, to run the Congo, to run Nigeria effectively. So, when it comes to the issue of security, so security means different thing to different people. To the people in the north, the security, for God's sake, it seems like, of course, even when you attack, you are even securing, because you attack to secure your interest. I hope you get what I'm trying to say now. So security means something, when they attack, they are securing their interest, which is security. So to us, when they attack us or attack an ordinary man, so it means another thing.
The president welcomes constructive criticism at all times in the spirit of freedom of speech and democratic engagement, but he will also never allow himself to be distracted from doing what is right for Nigeria. He said, and I quote, "Are we saying that we are where we need to be and that there isn't room for more work to be done? Certainly not. What we are saying is simple, that President Tinubu has demonstrated uncommon audacity and vision to set Nigeria on the path of true growth and development. After a somewhat rocky start, owing to the toughness of the inevitable reforms, we are now entering an era of intended beneficial outcomes underlined by macroeconomic stability. On national security, Idris assured that President Tinubu is leaving no stone unturned in his efforts to protect Nigerians and the nation's territorial integrity from terrorist elements." Please help me hold that thought. That headline, that headline says, "I remain focused on reforms despite criticism," says President Tinubu. Now, on the Punch newspaper, let me join this with it. Wike Umahi to showcase Tinubu's achievements in London. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory is on Wike. Minister of Works David Umahi and other senior government officials are set to present the Bola Tinubu administration's achievements at an international press conference in London. Speaking at a briefing in Abuja on Tuesday, Project Internal Coordinator of the President Bola Tinubu Mid-Term Legacy Project Review Committee, Bode Adeyemi, said that the event will serve as a platform for ministers, heads of departments, and agency leaders to highlight the administration's major accomplishment over the past 2 years. The event, scheduled for Friday, June 27, 2025, will also feature the official launch of compendium and website cataloging legacy project undertaken by the administration.
No matter how brilliant or how sharp you are not supposed to superimpose your will in a democracy. That is what we call authoritarian democracy, or let me say dictatorship. Now remember, the major part of this reform was pronounced even when Mr. President was yet to even sign his letter, as the president of this country. It was during a speech. At that time, the National Assembly was yet to be inaugurated. The Executive Council was not there. Of course, somebody mentioned, even the president mentioned that. He said, look, Nigerians are now happy. They are now smiling. And I asked myself, the same Nigeria...
what era? Is it in 2025 or 2024?
No, recently now. Just about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was on the newspaper. By the river will feel the cold, but the stone inside the river that's filling with the cold will forget that the stone that is outside, the stones outside are feeling the heat. So our president is right there in the palace. The tendency is for him to quickly forget that the ordinary man they are poor, and they also have their prestige. So a whole lot of things are wrong, and of course there are a whole lot of fronts, and probably begin to tell the entire world and begin to, because now they are featuring Umahi and Wike. Okay, good enough, done. So the next batch will be another set of 2 ministers, then another set. So that's how we'll be bringing, because it's not just free. You pay those people. You pay for venue, you pay for, it's a whole waste of money, and they don't need it at all.
All right.
They don't need it at all.
Oshamale also thinks, is lauding President Tinubu's achievement. Yes, he says that the worst is over in Nigeria.
Yes, of course. I told you, I said the stone inside the river. Yes, we forget so quickly that the stones that are outside are feeling the heat.
A constitutional amendment bill seeking to mandate the rotation of the offices of the president and vice president among the 6 geopolitical zones. The bill was one of 7 proposed constitutional amendments listed for consideration during the plenary session, presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu. All 7 bills were ultimately rejected. However, the House resolved to reconsider the bills individually on their merit during today's sitting. And to facilitate a more efficient debate, the House had earlier suspended its rules to allow simultaneous discussion of the constitutional amendment bills, permitting members to focus on any of the 7 proposals. Now, the rotational presidency bill attracted the most attention, sparking a contentious debate. Leading the opposition to the proposal was Deputy Minority Leader Aliyu Madaki, who argued that the principle of equitable representation was already covered by the Federal Character Commission. Sada Soli APC Katina criticized.
They would say, sorry, let us divide. In fact, let us have more than one capital, federal capital. Let's have one in the southwest, one in the southeast, and let's have about 6 of them, so that the president will stay in one capital, the legislature will stay in one, the judiciary will stay in one, the army chief will stay in one. People will be demanding for, we would never get tired of demanding of, things. I think we should just forget about all those things and let us, rework our constitution, or probably at best.
The government voided June 12th to avoid paying Abiola 45 billion naira, says Lamido. Former National Secretary of the defunct Social Democratic Party and ex-governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, has linked the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election won by the late MK Abiola to the 45 billion naira contract debt allegedly owed Abiola by the military government of the late General Muritala Mohammed. According to Lamido, the military refused to pay Abiola the debt after General Mohammed died. And when Abiola won the June 12, 1993 presidential election, they decided to annul it for fear that if sworn in as president, Abiola would recover the 45 billion naira debt, a situation which might bankrupt the country at the time. Lamido made the assertion on Tuesday in Abuja during the public presentation of his autobiography titled Being True to Myself. He therefore called on President Bola Tinubu to pay Abiola's family the alleged 45 billion naira debt in order to bring closure to the June 12 saga. Now, this is another angle to the June 12 and late MK Abiola's matter. But sorry, we quickly have to go for a quick break. So when we come back, we'll take your reaction, then we'll open the phone lines.
Okay.
When it comes to satisfying your everyday needs, one name stands out: Femiel Multiventures. Whether you're planning a big event, stocking up for your business, or simply craving a delicious meal, we've got you covered. At Femiel Multiventures, we specialize chilled and your guest refreshed. Are you planning a party or special occasion? Look no further. We offer top quality rental materials, canopies, chairs, tables, you name it. We've got it.
I think I disagree with there. I think I disagree with there is that, it is because, the military felt that it will reclaim his $45 billion. That isn't why they denied him. I don't think that is very correct. Because one, you need to study Abiola very well. He had been a capitalist the bulk part of his life. But of course, towards that OPE 93 thing, you find out that, of course, most of his business he has been winding up. He was more or less behaving like a socialist, a man of the people. So you are now saying that, of course, you are immortalizing him. If you are immortalizing him, I think, yes, his legacy should be allowed to survive. So the family should breathe. So I think they should look for a way. On a serious note now, even if they are going to convert it to a part of an asset through which the family can also contribute to the national economy. So, but first, let them be. Even if it can be converted into shares and all that in the government and in the various government assets here and there.
All right.
So, rather than paying in cash if they don't have that money, but the government should
let's
begin
open
to
the
start
phone
doing
lines
something.
at this point so that we can hear from our listeners. 0705 500 1033 0905 444 1033 0705 500 1033 0905 444 1033. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome, sir.
How are you, my dear sister?
I'm doing fine, thank you. You're welcome. Politics can indeed be unpredictable. And Olakunle Akomu says, good morning, great team, well done. I-FLIER is the best station. Thank you very much. Sophisticated high-tech equipment should be deployed in securing our land. God bless Nigeria. Thank you for your comment. Olakunle Akomu. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Auntie Esther.
Pastor Edil, it's good to have you, sir.
Yes, my honorable, good morning, sir.
Good morning, my pastor. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. How was your night, sir?
Yeah, fine, thank you, sir.
I'm Pastor Edil speaking from Alakia about the issue of security in this country. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Some that are hindering them. A few days ago, I read online one Major General Danju McAfee. He revealed that when he was trying to arrest the Boko Haram kingpins, that he said that he arrested them.
Yes.
But later on,
he was relieved.
He was dismissed from
Nigeria.
Yes,
he was relieved of his job. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that this issue of terrorism, and in fact, the current chief of army staff said in Yobe last week that this issue of terrorism would have been things of the past. But there are some forces. It's body language. There are some powers. So what I'm saying is that it seems as if the Northerners, maybe the Fulani, they don't want this terrorism to end. I would suggest let each region look for means of.
Now God save us in this Oyo State.
Amen. Thank you
God
very much.
help Nigeria.
Amen. Thank you for your comment, Mrs. Unisa. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Alright, please do call us back. Let's go back on Facebook. I have this from Sulaiman Sheriff. He says, good morning and kudos to everyone in the studio. What is wrong with having a rotational presidency in Nigeria? It's a pathway to also having rotational governorship in each state, as well as rotating House of Representatives and Senate seats. Some representatives have served more than 5 terms. That's selfishness. They don't want change because it won't favor them. That's why they rejected the bill. Thank you very much, Sulaiman Sheriff. Comrade Fashion Isaka says, good morning, Esther. And Honorable Femi Adebisi, thank you for your comment, sir. Let's go back to calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning, sir. Very quickly, sir.
Speaking.
It's good to have you.
When person, the president speaking, don't do don't say me. You ṣe ọmọ Nàìjíríà tí ò ṣe nǹkan tí ó takò nílùú tó lọ lọ́run tó kó àwọn èèyàn lọ láti máa sọ pé àṣeyọrí tó ń ti ṣe lélẹ́yìn irú àṣeyọrí wo ló ṣe ná iṣẹ́ àṣe ta ni ó takò lọ́hùn nígbà tó ń lọ sọ́run tí ò sọ ní ojú àwa Nàìjíríà mọ́ àwọn èèyàn tó kó lọ owó ni wọ́n fi lọ ni wọ́n fi máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́hùn o owó tẹ́tí wọ́n gbà owó wọn ná owó Nàìjíríà náà wọ́n ná odidi ààrẹ tí lọ júwé pé òun ṣe báyìí àṣeyọrí wo ló ṣe ṣé security wà dáadáa Nàìjíríà ẹgbẹ́ wálẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ṣé gbogbo kan lọ́wọ́ ṣé iná lọ déédéé Nàìjíríà gbogbo tí ọkùnrin yìí sọ is fake Tinubu kẹta wa tẹ̀ wá jẹ́ Nàìjíríà ni.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Baba Tajudeen. Thank you for your comment. Yes. Let's go back on Facebook. Prince Bumi Adefusi says, good morning, dear Stan, the brilliant analyst. Thank you very much. Paying billions of naira to the family of late MK Abiola is a misplaced priority. What is important is for the government to come up with a new agency that would be named after him to serve as job creation. Thank you very much.
It is his money.
Prince Bumi Adefusi.
It's just like somebody, I did a job for the government and you're asking me not to collect my money. But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be in cash or something like that. Let it be converted into a kind of shares. Okay, if NMPC now, for example, open up a share to us, yes, of course it can be converted. I mean, into shares and all that. Okay. So by that they'll be getting money. They'll be compensated. I mean, of course, and not only they'll be contributing to the national economy. All right. So, but how can he just, do something for the government and then he's losing that money? No, that is not justice. Back
to Facebook, Kolawala Daramola says, I want to ask Honorable, who are the ITT, the international, okay?
I'm not talking of Fela's ITT.
Fela mentioned in his song, the allegation against Abiola true or not.
No. ITT developed our telecoms here.
Let me finish this. If it is, then why the compensation or return of money now? Corruption had been with all our leaders since. All right, let's go back to calls. Hello, good morning, very quickly.
Good morning, John.
Thank you very much.
Number one, Lamido that he talked this time